All right. It's another Friday night. I am your host, Friday Jones, and this is the fifth episode of Friday Jones Uncensored, where we make a reparations mindset. There is a lot happening politically, there's a lot happening internationally, but we as Black Americans, as American freedmen, foundational Black Americans, we have to concentrate on us. That is the time that we are in. There's a lot of things, fear tactics. People want you in the street. They want you doing different things. I need you to use your strongest asset, which is your mind. And that is why I created this show, in order to go over things, reparations world, but the things that we need to know about. Tonight's show is going to feature Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina is absolutely my favorite reparations model. And what has happened to this beautiful work and the people there. I know someone that got so mad. The brother married a Ghanaian woman and he moved out the country. That's how pissed off he was behind what happened here. But I need us, those of us that are here, that are in this fight, that are doing this work, to understand what it is exactly that we are against. And so with that, we're going to move to a reparations minute, and I'm bringing this back. Shout out to my comrade, my boy, my brother, Reggie Romaine, who put this little clip together. I am sharing it tonight in our reparations minute because it's election season, it's midterms, and the primaries are right around the corner. If you haven't already started voting, particularly in California, June 2nd is the deadline. So I wanted to share this little bit of info. All right, this video is brought to you by the good brother Reggie Romaine, and I'm gonna, can I make it bigger? I don't know. We're gonna put it on.
I walked into Dr. Weber's office May of 2019. I met Maureen Simmons and Anthony DiMartino, and we worked on the language of the bill together. That's a whole year before George Floyd. The work of the reparations movement in California comes from the people. Can't tell you how disappointed I am in each and every single one of you. I have to say that. The way that you handled SB 1403, SB 1331 was a disgrace. It was horrible. Mr. McCarty, how can you be the mayor of Sacramento if you work to kill a reparations bill in the state assembly? How can you seek to be the mayor of a city with the third, fourth highest Black population in the state by percentage, but you helped kill one of the reparations bills? How can we vote for you? Member Bonta, you had 1331 in your hands. It doesn't matter what the governor said. We don't send you there to do what the governor said. We don't send you there to do things only the governor likes.
According to Newsom's 2019 Statement of Economic Interest, he received a gross income over $100,000 just from Villa Encinal Partners. This company, which is traced back to the Plumpjack Winery in Napa, received more than $918,000 to retain 14 employees.
That doesn't balance out.
Joan Kotz owns John Kotz Farms, a family-owned winery business in Lodi. She received a PPP loan worth around $1.3 million and retained 141 employees.
If that's the case, then the governor is picking which bills come to him. We send you there to do what the people say. If the governor did not like the bills, you still have the power to override the people. And you told me that it was above your pay grade. The response that you're giving here today have been insufficient. They have been disrespectful to people, and they have contributed to the harm, and they have weakened whatever trust was still there. You voted. You stopped one of your own reparations bills.
We're not doing what the bills aren't ready for.
That you had your own names on. That is disgraceful. It is horrible. It is wrong. You have committed a political harm to the people. Your strategy has already failed.
Do you feel like they're listening to you? Do you feel like have you met with them? Is it receptive?
Well, they're gonna listen today.
Yeah.
They're gonna hear us today.
All right, and that is my I call him my twin in reparations. That was Chris Logsdon. who is the lead organizer, co-founder with me and some other wonderful people of a coalition for a just and equitable California. That is real life. That's what advocacy looks like. It means showing up in the places with your legislators. We had McCarty, we had Bonta, we had Jackson. These are all folks that are up for re-election in different capacities across the state of California. And it is incumbent upon us to know what they're doing for us and what they're doing against us. And that's going to be the theme of tonight's show. So with that, I'm going to bring up, and all of these links are, well, not the Facebook link that I just shared from the good brother Reggie Romaine, but all of the links, not all of them, the links that are pertinent to this show tonight are being shared on YouTube, trying to get my viewership, my numbers up. So if you're liking this, if you're sharing it, if you're watching it, if you enjoy the shorts, whether you are watching on any of the platforms where I repost the shorts, please direct people here to my channel on YouTube at I Am Friday Jones, and make sure you subscribe. It's the easiest way for me to send this information out further and a little wider. This is the Community Reparations Commission report that Asheville and the county of Buncombe County did together. I'm not going to go into the depth of this report. I'm sharing the report. The link is there. They have all these different people who were in different things: economic development, housing, criminal justice. They had a well-rounded group of commissioners that participated in this work that was largely done, I think, over 2020 and 2020, I feel like, until 2023. Talks about the administration, and I actually contributing writers. I've been on on different panels with some of the commissioners here, and so I want us to freeze frame this. I do have, and this is from the City of LA's development team, the Monarch Group. They put together this study, and for me, Asheville is the model. And what I liked about Asheville is a couple of things. First of all, Asheville is a city. The county that they were in came in and they worked together. The municipality and the county both put money into a reparations pot and fund. And the piece I like the most is they had a third party stakeholder, meaning there was a committee that was created specifically here that was going to basically be oversight to the government. That is a model. I'm sorry, I said Monarch. Mockingbird Analytics put this report together. You can find it on the City of LA's reparations website. And the reason, again, that I like this model so much is that they did things the right way. If I can tell you, the only thing they did wrong, if you go to the original report, there's a lot of that black. If you go into the research of Asheville County, it's in North Carolina, so of course it was in Confederate territory. Of course it was enslaved people there. Of course, the large number of black people there are American freedmen people, meaning they were emancipated with the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution. That is who the black people are in Asheville. They are us. It's the people that the lineage advocates fight for. When we're up in Washington, D.C., if we are doing federal actions, we, the same people in Asheville, North Carolina, are who we want to fight for. And I got to shout out the good brother Rob. Rob, he was so disturbed by what happened, and you should be too by the time I finish sharing this, that he's now international. He's here in the U.S., he is in Ghana. The work that this group did was phenomenal work. In 2020, the Racial Justice Coalition, an alliance of individuals and organizers, meaning everyday people, they basically wanted to address systemic racism and state-sanctioned violence against Black people through grassroots organizing. That means us people, the work that we do, okay? They pressured the city of Asheville and Buncombe County to begin a local reparations process. Both the city and county passed reparations resolutions, which committed to establishing a process within the next year to develop recommendations that create generational wealth. Their goal was about the money, honey. And they also wanted to boost the economic mobility for the Black community. All right. In 2021, the initial reparations fund came from city council voting to appropriate $2.1 million, okay, from the sale of city-owned lands to initially fund reparations. The land was acquired in the 1970s and through urban renewal efforts. The county then came and matched $2 million. Both the city and county committed $500,000 per year from the general fund, which means they had a long-term plan. We still ain't seen the city of LA. We haven't seen them come together. We haven't seen the city of LA put money into a pot. Definitively, we haven't seen the county of Los Angeles say, hey, city of LA, we're going to match the money in the pot. But they did that in Asheville. My favorite to this date, my favorite reparations, what do you call it? Blueprint, reparations plan, blueprint. I think they did beautiful work. Their report is a beautiful report. We can get into that another time, but I gotta make sure we get to the end of this. And you're gonna see if you watch my videos, there's a common theme, and I don't even be looking for the theme. The theme keeps finding me. The universe makes sure I find this information, okay? In 2022, the County Reparations Commission was also formed. The annual budget line came after the Reparations Commission requested that Buncombe County Board of Commissioners include the line item in their budget for reparations for Black people. Again, only mistake I feel they made, they didn't say descendants of chattel slavery. American chattel slavery. They didn't make that distinction. They didn't say American freedmen. Okay? And so they did that. The fund was set aside. It was implemented, right? We had Chair Dr. Mullen. We know Dr. Mullen. Her work is respectable. She works with Dr. Darity. She is a folklorist in her own right. She's very accomplished in her work. We know Dr. Mullen, right? And then they give a little timeline here. 2020, resolution is passed. 2021, the city allocates this $2 million. The CRC is formed with its 25 members. All those people I showed that had different backgrounds from housing, education, economics, well-rounded group of people, right? CRC recommends the Stop the Harm audit, ongoing racism. They looked at the racism in their city, the city of Asheville, okay? They went on, they developed the county match their $2 million. And then 2023, the CRC continues meeting, and then the Carter Group presents the audit and finding. And then something really just terrible happens in 2025, and we're going to get to that in a minute. What happens in 2025? And I know it's going to feel like we skipped over what's going on in Asheville. I know. But Asheville did the work. They did really, really good work. They had a solid reparations plan. They were ahead of California. And if they had been allowed to get off the ground, actually, before I get to this letter, if they had been allowed to get off the ground, I think Asheville and California, in terms of actual reparations policy, how well thought out it was, those two states, state and municipality, if there were ever a state to blueprint, it would be California. If there was ever a municipality to blueprint, it would be Asheville, North Carolina, with the exception of the language that they used in their reporting. Okay? The thing I want to ask my viewers, and let me take this down before I get into it. How many of you know that there was a Tulsa Commission I believe it was in 1993. There was a Tulsa Commission in the 1990s. And everyone is like, oh, we gotta do a commission in Tulsa. No. You don't have to do a new commission. You might need to update some of the research from 30 years ago. But you don't have to do a new commission. Why? Because there was a commission done in 1993. And just like what happened here in Asheville, it was squashed. The city of Tulsa, Oklahoma, basically the governing people said, we're not going to do anything. They took the report, they stuck it on a shelf, put it in a file, did whatever, but they did not take on any of the recommendations from that report. In the case of Asheville, what had happened was, we'll go back to sharing screen here. This letter is what happened. And I'm going to make it a little bigger. The link to this letter is in the YouTube channel. And again, if you're liking this, you're watching it, you're seeing a short, like and share. September 4th, 2025, from the Office of the Assistant Attorney General for the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, sent a letter to the Board of County Commissioners in the county of Buncombe, North Carolina, right? And their subject line is unlawful race-based discrimination. We don't even need Pacific Legal because we got the United States Assistant Attorney General, who this department, the DOJ, reports to the president. I need us to understand governance as we do this work. The U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has become aware of concerning recommendations presented to you by Asheville Buncombe County Community Reparations Commission. The final report presented on September 2nd, 2025 includes 38 recommendations in 5 focus areas: criminal justice, economic development, education, health and wellness, and housing. I also understand that the Reparations Commission will present its recommendations to the city of Asheville on September 9th, 2025. After our initial review, we are deeply concerned that many of the recommendations, if implemented, would violate federal civil rights law, including without limitation, the Fair Housing Act, Title V, Title III, and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Here is the problem. The 14th Amendment actually is about equal protections, but the 14th Amendment allows for policy to be specific, tailored, and targeted. And again, I'm not a lawyer, putting that disclaimer out here, not giving legal advice, but it can do that when the harm has been documented. The harm was documented, people, in that Asheville County report. It was documented, okay? It goes on to say, this letter, although you have not formally adopted the recommendations, this is preemptive. This is a preemptive strike to not allow this to go to court. Because the last thing that the Department of Justice wants is a win. Because they know if there's a municipal win and that precedent is set in court, then the federal government has something to fear. And I tell people, you got to be fearless to do this work. The Assistant Attorney General goes on to say, although you have not formally adopted recommendations, public reporting suggests that you intend to do so. According to media statements by the county's Chief Equity and Human Rights Officer, Dr. Noreel F. Armstrong, the county has already set aside more than $2.3 million towards implementing the recommendations. My office will be closely monitoring your actions. To the extent these recommendations are formally adopted, you are now on notice that my office stands ready to investigate and enforce violations of federal civil human rights laws to the fullest extent possible. Whose signature is on this? Hermeet K. Dhillon, Assistant Attorney General, Civil Rights Division. She is a California-based attorney, civil rights attorney. And we're going to get into who Hermeet is. This is a disgrace. As a result of this letter, the city of Asheville, their city council, they just closed the door on the commission, just like they did in Tulsa in the 1990s. So here we are 30 years later, and we as a people, as American freedmen people, whose ancestors were emancipated by the 13th Amendment, still have no standing in this country, still have no standing in court. The municipality and their legal team was not even prepared to go to battle with the United States. They just caved, and they had done everything right. And we, as the grassroots people, we cannot continue to allow the same energy of fear to control the work that we do. We have to be fearless. And I'm going to say this even for my atheist family, we got to be aligned with God. And aligning with God means knowing who you are and understanding that you carry the spark of life within you. And that is the essence of God. And we got to move fearlessly, because there are people that are trying to consistently harm us, one generation after another. And this is a duality. This earth is a dual place. There's a north and the south. There are two sides to a magnet. There's the sun, there's the moon. There is day, there is night. There is truth, and then there is lies that feed the beast system. And we need to understand and be very clear on who we are and how we move in this dual place. There's nothing that exists in this place, in this realm. There's a positive charge on your battery. There's a negative charge on your battery. And we have to move accordingly. Otherwise, we'll be consumed by the beast system, period. I'm going to share my screen. This memo, and I gotta give them credit. The Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. You know, we bumped heads a little bit with them when the National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants was trying to work through SP 15, which is the Office of Management and Budget's race mechanism. You know, I reached out to these people and can we get a consensus? You know, we as an organization are not part of their coalition, but they have a very strong coalition. They have more money than our little grassroots organization has, but I got to give them credit on this. They did get this right. They ain't mess with us with what we were trying to do with the descendant language. They were very sort of in line with the NAACP, but they got this right. To interested persons, okay, this is regarding Hermeet Dhillon's confirmation hearing. So they were in this early. Her hearings, I believe, were in 2021. On February 26th, the Senate Judiciary Committee began its consideration of nominating Hermeet Dhillon to serve as Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the Department of Justice. The Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, the nation's oldest and largest civil rights coalition, submitted a statement raising profoundly troubling aspects of her record on civil rights and urging the Senate to reject her nomination. They got this right. We have found, like in the reparations space, oh, you draw a line, people don't agree with us, well, F them, we don't work with them anymore. That does not serve us. We can't move like that. We got to agree on the things we agree on, and those are the things that we move forward. And I have to say, the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights got this right with Hermeet Dhillon, attorney. Assistant Attorney General at the Department of Justice now. The DOJ Civil Rights Division has critical responsibility of enforcing our nation's federal and civil rights laws, right? Ensuring equal justice under the law on behalf of all communities, including the American freedmen community, the most disenfranchised community in the history of the United States. We're so disenfranchised that the founders didn't even want to refer to us by race, by status of being enslaved in this country in any form in our Constitution. We were just people available for sale. And if you go read that Constitution, we were allowed to be sold and imported into different states. And there were tax fees that were allowed to be collected on our ancestors' bodies, on human chattel. And I wonder, as Hermeet was drafting this letter and flossing this way and that way, I wonder if Assistant Attorney General Hermeet Dhillon, who was raised in North Carolina, I wonder if she gave any reverence to who we are as a people in this country. And that her department, if anything, should be in service to us as a people and not continuing to harm us, which is what her letter did. Hermeet Dhillon would not robustly enforce the Voting Rights Act. We see where the Voting Rights Act is. And although people, and you got a lot of these Democratic shills crying that, I don't know, today they were going back to the Pettus Bridge. I don't know why you marching. That's old energy. Create some new energy. Have new thoughts. Do something different. What I do know about going to the Pettus Bridge is that's not going to get us anywhere. That's not going to get us any change. We have 3 departments of government. You either dealing with the president, you dealing with the legislative branch, or you dealing with this court system. And I don't know how marching on a bridge gets you to any of those 3 bodies of governance when it comes to this federal government. Okay? This letter goes on about the 60th year of President Johnson's Voting Rights Act. It's out the window. And while the Democratic shills are being all scary and, oh my God, we don't know what to do. First of all the Democrats want to do is hoard power and money, period. That's all the GOP wants to do. It wants to hoard power and it wants to hoard money. And it wants to hoard it and wield the power of the elites. That's the only difference between the 2 parties. And at the end of the day, what we need to understand is their lording power has nothing to do with being in service to the American people. And our Constitution starts with we the people. And if the people that are in legislative, the president, the courts, including the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest court in this land, are not working in service to the American people, it means they are working for the beast system and they are working against humanity. They are working against us. And for white folks who think, okay, they moving the maps and now we're going to get in there. No, you're going to get in there. But it took y'all 50 years just to learn to be civil, semi-civil to Black people. Now, as you run for office, you're going to have to be accountable. You can't have feces running on one side of the town while you got pure plumbing working on the other side of the town. We got these data centers now that are popping up, and there's a law, there's a small business law that tells you the states that they want to go in, because only about 8 people in Congress signed off on the bill. The bill is sitting on President Trump's desk right now. If you've been paying attention, President Trump, even in Alabama, the Dow Industries, Dow Chemicals is in lawsuits. San Francisco, down in Texas, on the Gulf, in multiple states, including Louisiana. President Trump just goes, these 12 companies, they don't have to conform to EPA regulations. So they don't care. He doesn't care if you in Louisiana breathing toxic air, because he's just waved his magic presidential wand across this. Dear white people, You are going to have to figure out whether you for reparations and you for humanity, or if you're going to continue to be against it, because you've been against humanity for so long. 250 years of ruling the government here in the United States, 250 years of putting Black people by paper mills, 250 years of putting us by factories and creating housing that is like slum and ghetto housing that you learn how to do from what happened during the Holocaust. You created environments like that, and it was okay for us to live in, while you created money, while Black people was paying taxes to create Levittowns, to fund places where Black people couldn't live. You are feeling the effects of your inaction for centuries. And we have moved beyond a time where the universe is going to give you more time. The time is up. The tide has changed. And we are our ancestors. People say, oh, we're not our ancestors. We are absolutely our ancestors. And this is not going to stand. We're halfway at the halfway mark. Again, please like, share this video. If you like the shorts, get them out. Make sure you follow. I'm trying to get my numbers up. The information I share is a lot of information to take in, but it's stuff that we need to know so that we look at things the right way and have a reparations mindset. And if you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Friday Jones, and this is Friday Jones Uncensored. This letter from the Leadership Conference of Civil and Human Rights, she talks about Senator Klobuchar. Section 2, Ms. Dhillon went out of her way to note that the Supreme Court struck down other sections of the Voting Rights Act. She referenced Shelby County versus Holder, noting that Congress would need to act for those sections to be operable. In fact, Ms. Dhillon strongly opposed John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which would restore Voting Rights Act to its full power. She penned an op-ed for Fox News in which she called the bill a power grab. Now, I will say, if you see how Prop 50 was used by the Democrats, and I told people, do not support Prop 50, because if people, it was sold to us, particularly Black people, of, oh, we've got to get ahead of the GOP. I don't know how that serves Black America. We have been a numeric minority since the importation of ethnic Europeans in the late 1800s, all the way up to 1920, right after the summer that we had the Black Summer, where Black towns would just burn. And people want to talk about, oh, my family didn't own slaves. Well, if you came here with that bunch of people, you burned our Black towns down to the ground. And it's important for us to understand that we are doing very special work. And I just wanted to share this letter. I don't want to go on too much because I got too much to get into about who this woman is. She got a law firm, the Dhillon Law Group. Talks about the history and the vision. The Dhillon Law Group was founded with a mission to provide strategic, responsive, and creative legal services for individuals and businesses. That vision was brought to life by Hermeet K. Dhillon, who founded our firm in 2006 in San Francisco. Our Reparations Minute was in San Francisco with the good brother Chris Lodson. From its inception, Dhillon Law Group distinguished itself through its commitment to excellence in defending the rights of our clients. I want you to hold on to that. Defending the rights of our clients, especially in the areas of civil liberties, free speech, business, and political law. Trailblazing founder, a nationally recognized civil rights and constitutional law attorney. She's the equivalent of the public people that I'm always talking about. Pacific Legal. She's the equivalent of them. You can't tell me any different. I don't care about all these foo-foo words. Okay, she's known for her zeal, achieving justice for her clients, helping them realize creative and practical solutions to intractable problems. Her fearless approach and commitment to excellence became the cornerstone of the firm's identity. December 2024, she accepted appointment by President Donald J. Trump to serve as Assistant Attorney General, leading the Civil Rights Division. Okay, upon her confirmation in April 2025, she formally left the law group. While she no longer works with us, we continue her vision of fierce advocacy and excellence every day. I want to show you what the vision of this law firm is. Founded by this woman. She went to Dartmouth, Classical Studies, University of Virginia is where she got her JD. South Asian Bar Association, California. Do you know that Asians in California have more wealth than the white people in California? Do you know that that's so known that East Indian comedians joke about it when they doing their comedy sets? It's a fun fact that's haha funny because they do actually out-earn white America. She's legal counsel to the firm, not she, legal counsel to the Sikh Coalition. If you look at the photo that I used that was during her hearings, when I announced tonight's show, top 100 lawyers, woman leader, da-da-da-da-da. She got all these accolades. She don't like Kamala. If you go to her page, you could read what she wrote about Kamala Harris. Okay? Now we're going to shout out the good brother Dhillon Jackson. Because here's where it gets good. This is where it gets good. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Get close, get close. It's good. Okay? This brother post, I'm going to keep it brief and straightforward. Following some information I found, the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs is attempting to target several mega churches in California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, Colorado, digitally through geofencing. I know what geofencing is here in California because when we have Juneteenth in Leimert Park, the Mecca, the Black Mecca of Los Angeles, it's geofenced. Your phone may or may not work. It's being jammed purposely by law enforcement. We know that LAPD, many of the police departments around the United States, they actually train with Israeli techniques tied back to Israel. That's factual information. You can Google the information and find out exactly which police departments have contracts where they are trained by Israel, okay? There's a pro-Israeli group called Show Faith by Works LLC based in San Diego. Many of these churches are large evangelical, predominantly white congregations, but there are a handful of black congregations and the names of black denominations on this list that has the good brother Dhillon Jackson alarmed. What is geofencing? Geofencing is technology that creates a virtual boundary around a real-world geographic area, such as a neighborhood, event space, using GPS, Wi-Fi, RFID, and cellular data. And in this case, they want to do it to churches. One of the churches on this list is right by the train station on Crenshaw Boulevard at Exposition in LA. Okay? When someone's phone or device enters or leaves the area, the geofence can trigger specific actions. For example, sending a notification or ad to their phone, tracking their movement or attendance within the zone, collecting location-based data and marketing on security purposes. Do y'all remember in my episode about Ghana and that United Nations and the security deal that they signed with the EA? Who do you think is leading that deal? Who do you think Peter Thiel, with all his Israeli ties on security and technology, why are they concerned about black churches and how black churches are moving? Why are they concerned about y'all evangelicals? So y'all evangelicals, again, who didn't do enough to do right by black people over the last 250 years in this country, y'all now getting data centers and you getting the geofencing too. You thought it was just going to be the black people and racism was going to be forever. But God don't work like that. It's a duality, dual planet. The pendulum has to swing back, and it's swinging back right now. And if you're not with the movement, you're going to get knocked out by the pendulum. That's just the way the universe works. That's just the way it is. This good brother has gone so far as to contact some of the churches. And so I, what I thought, and I have to correct myself, I thought that the Dhillon law firm worked with Asheville as their legal counsel on compliance. But I said, let me check that fun fact. And I emailed the chief financial officer of Asheville, who emailed me back. It was not the Dhillon law firm, but the connection that was made regarding the conflict of interest that Assistant Attorney General Hermeet has. You see stuff on the internet, you don't know if it's real. This person, though, shared this link with this information, and I just did a regular Google search, and it's the exact same information. And in my Google search, it's the same file that he shared publicly. This is public information. And if you do a Google search, you can verify what I'm saying. There's no need for me to make it up. I can admit when I've made a mistake. I made a mistake with regards to Hermeet Dhillon previously, and I'm correcting that error now. This is what is called Exhibit A to a registration statement pursuant to the Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938. Okay? The filing of this document is required by foreign agents, right? And we have the reference law for the purposes of registration under the act, public disclosure. So this is public information, right? It's mandatory that they complete this because you can't just be in this country just willy-nilly doing whatever. So the name of the registrant is Show Faith by Works. It's a spell. That's a short name, but it's a spell. Show Faith by Works. And these are their works. Gives their address down in San Diego. And the name of the foreign principal is Isra-el Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So their foreign affairs department is mingling with evangelical white churches and black churches too. That's the goal here. They got an address here, 9 Yitzhak Rabin Boulevard in Jerusalem, Israel. Okay? What are they doing? Who signed this document? Chad Schittner. I don't know how to say his name. Chad Schnitger. Chad. It's a Chad who signed this document. There's his signature. He signed it in September. Around the same time, interestingly, that Hermeet sent the letter to Asheville. Why? There's no formal contract between the registrant and the foreign principal. The agreement with the above-named foreign principal has resulted from an exchange of correspondence. That's what they're claiming here. This is saying that they want to do Christian outreach through various grassroots and digital targeting of Christians in the Western United States. We will create a mobile museum to display at churches, Christian colleges, and Christian events. We will target and distribute pro-Israel information online and through targeted geofencing and digital online tools. This sounds like Peter Thiel's tech to me. We will have a team of people to reach out to the churches and pastors and possibly even their social media. This is fluid, but we have planned and proposed this. Christian outreach through various grassroots digital, and they go on again. Christian social media influencers. So if your Christian social media influencers start talking about Israel, this is going to be why. encouraging Christians to have more favorable view of the nation of Israel and to encourage Christians to visit Israel for tourism purposes. Why? For what? To be told that you goy? To be told that you are not the chosen people of God? To continue giving, allowing our federal government to give dollars for people who have full sponsored medical insurance, for people who live on kibbutzes and they don't have to pay rent, they live in rent free, and we got people scrambling, 4 or 5 people in a 1-bedroom trying to figure out how to scratch some nickels to make rent. Why? I want to get to the fun part of this. You can, this is public information. I'm just reading the public information. There are some other people who executed the document. So we got some other names here. I want to show these other people's names. And I want to show y'all how the Colored Rainbow Coalition conspires against us. And I'm going to wrap it up because I see that I'm down to my last 10 minutes. But Tango Do, Melissa Lundy, it's a Russian name, Robert Pursley, I'm not Russian, German, Emily Hemingway. These are the people who signed off on this document. And I haven't looked into these people because my focus tonight was on Hermeet. And when you get to this page here with this little spreadsheet, and they talk about who's doing what and where. California Church and College Outreach Land, Southern California, Nevada, Arizona Traveling Team Lead. They're telling you who these people are. Robert Pursley, Song Du, Deputy California Church Outreach. So y'all Asians, y'all need to be scared. Why are they pulling y'all Asian Americans into Israel? For what? Because you believe in God? Because you believe in Jesus Christ? The point I want you to pay attention to, I'm making this as big as possible. On call, legal fees. Dhillon Law Firm. Dhillon Law Firm to keep in compliance with foreign agent registries. So Dhillon supposedly left her law firm, but she's the Assistant Attorney General to the United States, but her law firm is the law firm for an Israeli Christian tourism company. It's propaganda. They could call it tourism. I think in Ghana, when Ghana did the year to return, that was propaganda. Return to what? We're Americans now. We're Jamaicans now. We're Brazilians now. We're different people now than we were 400 years ago. I need you all to understand how to connect the dots, people. I need you to understand that this is a conflict of interest. We should be in the streets. We should be up in arms about Hermeet Dhillon and her law firm. I don't care whether she's working there or not. It is a conflict of interest for her firm to be collecting fees and being some intermediary for Israel, just like that guy in Pacific Legal put in the front of the Illinois lawsuit, who is a Holocaust survivor that's fighting Black Americans for getting reparations in their country. The Civil War happened in America between the southern states and the northern states. The Holocaust happened in Germany. We have the United States bankrolling Israel. We have different states bankrolling Israel and Holocaust victims. They receive their reparations and don't have to pay taxes on it. That's a federal law. But Hermeet Dhillon is sending a letter and putting the squash and stopping progress in Asheville, North Carolina. By what right? By what right? We should be completely outraged. And I am, as you can feel from my energy, you know, this particular information, I have been saying for a time, our legal is our weakest link. It has been. We've been crushed in these courts in these United States from the beginning. When you have a state system that does not even see your humanity to name you in their constitution until they end the importation of enslaved people, until they end slavery where they can actually say it by name, because as a new nation, the founders didn't want to be known. They didn't want that, so we're going to sweep it under the carpet. The carpet is ripped and it's pulled all the way back. There's nothing to hide up under the carpet anymore. There is no carpet. It doesn't matter how much you all try to end American history and have the Daughters of the Confederacy dumbing down white people in America to make them somehow feel better about themselves. If you have to work that hard to maintain status quo, you are not that strong. You can't be. If you got to implement rules generation after generation to try and keep a people in their place, and yet everything we do travels around this world. People around the world are trying to be like the American Black people. There is something to us, whether you like it, don't like it. But the data centers are coming for you. Rural, white America, poor America. The legislation I read, it went from small businesses for poor people to being small businesses for tech and rural areas. So now you poor, largely white, because Black people only own 2% of the land. Y'all was okay from the 1970s. Y'all was okay with us, up until 1970s. So from emancipation to the 1970s, y'all was okay with us losing our 15 million acres. And now they coming for your acres. Y'all own damn near 99% of the rural land. They're coming to take your land. But because you weren't walking in your humanity, now your time is up. And yeah, Black people, we're not out, we're not fighting. We're not fighting. Our fight is a different fight than your fight. Our fight is a spiritual fight. Your fight is an inner fight, white people. And y'all need to go within to figure out what you're going to do, because you're not going to survive the next round of what's coming. Black churches, y'all need to, I don't know if there's any religious people following me. This channel is fairly new. But if you go to church, you need to be sending this to your pastor. You need to be sending this out. You need to be sending it out to people to make sure your church is not on this list of tourism with Isra-el, with Hermeet Dhillon, the founder of the Dhillon Law Group, to make sure that the vision for her clients, this is another thing, she said, a vision for her clients, to make sure you're not getting played by this woman who's now the Assistant Attorney General to the United States of America for the Department of Justice, who reports to the President of the United States. That's been my show. I thank folks for tuning in. If you have not watched it on the replay, if you're watching, like, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to continue doing these. It takes a lot for me to pull these together because I work. I have a lot going on. I'm always writing and drafting, and this is where we are right now. We are creating a reparations mindset, and it's important that we create that reparations mindset, because in all that we do, we have to be repairing ourselves. We have to be repairing our trauma. We have to be reuniting our families and not seeing each other as physical, sexual objects and a means to have a meal. We have to see each other for the creations that we are. We have to see the beauty in each other. We have to learn to talk to each other even when we are disagreed. This show tonight was on Asheville, North Carolina, but I wanted you to see the connections that you're not going to hear about on mainstream media. And like I said, this little Isra-el piece keeps coming through in the things that I report. And I'm not necessarily looking for that. but the information comes to me and I put it together here for you. If you like what you're seeing, I always don't know what to do when I have this little thing up. In any event, if you like what you're seeing, what I need you to do is follow me on social media. I need you to follow me at I am Friday Jones. Stay engaged. You know, respond to this. Respond to the video on YouTube when you see it. But like it, subscribe. Tell somebody. Even if you're not sure if they're gonna be watching the channel, I need you to tell somebody so that we can grow this channel. We can share this information. We can create a reparations mindset, and more importantly, a network of reparations mindset individuals who are going to understand how we need to work with each other across the country, not just on legislation, but in terms of business to business, in terms of being the creative people that we are, in terms of understanding this Constitution, understanding all these laws so we can renegotiate the terms. It's a different time, y'all. I love you. I love us. I want us to win. Remember that always. You are a special people. There's much, much intended for you, and this is the time that it is intended. And I speak the words from the depth of my soul. Peace and reparations. Until next time, I will see you in 2 weeks. Even if I'm a little late and caught in traffic, I will definitely see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Thank you.